Good evening. Sorry, good morning. My bad. Right. I've been having some evening lectures, so probably it's the hangover of those lectures. So, yes, a very good noon to all of you. I welcome you to this session, RC's do's and don'ts. Right. Good noon, good noon, good noon, all of you. Good afternoon. All right. Just a second, looking at the chat box. Hi, Varun, Kashish. Good afternoon. Hi, Tanvi. Hello, Shaina, Disha. Good noon, Sanu, Sonali. Good afternoon, Dharmi, Roshni. Good afternoon, Srishti, Harshal. All right. I welcome you to this session. And I am good. I hope you are good too. All right. So let's begin. Let's begin with our session for the day. Good noon, Nandraj, Pratham, Ankita. Good noon, Sanil. Hi, Priya. I'm well. I hope the same for you. Good afternoon, Kinjal. Good noon, Prachi, Radhika, Om. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have been good and have been planning this session for you, RC's do's and don'ts, right? Because so far we have paid attention to vocabulary, we've paid attention to grammar as well. I think we've had a number of vocabulary and grammar sessions in particular, right? So I think it's time that we focus on our RC passages also because they are also an important component. You know, if 15 out of 50 questions on an average they come from one area, that means it's an important component, right? So 30% of your VARC, your English section, right? And in fact, for your other exams, so this is something about MHCT, 30% in MHCT. If I talk about, let's say, a CAT, right, there two-thirds of the paper is RC passages, right? And RC passages is one such topic that's there in, again, all the management entrance exams. You look at CAT, ZAT, IFT, you look at MHCT, all your exams have RC passages. So it's very important to ace this area, right? Welcome, Varsha. Welcome. Good afternoon. Uh, Aman to you too. Nag Panchami. Hardik Sovecha to you too. I didn't know that today is Nag Panchami. All right. Okay, Tanjim. So, see, today we are going to focus on RC passages, right? So, I think because see, two-thirds of your paper is RC passages, this will help you to understand that maybe there are some RC errors, there are some common errors that you're making in your mocks, right? So, I hope it will help you. Yes, Priya, we do have grammar sessions also. So, see, at 12 p.m. Tuesday to Saturday, you meet me. So, you will be meeting me till your exam, and in this time period, we will be having grammar sessions also. So, don't worry about it. Okay. All right. Didn't see a few questions of Q and LR. Okay. How to manage time. All right. All right. I'll address this, Varun. Okay, Ayush. All right. I hope they help you. Okay. So let's begin with our session and RC's do's and don'ts. So first of all, in this title, I can even put an apostrophe here. Yes. How is it that I'm putting apostrophes here, here, here? Because this is not the possessive case, right? So why am I putting apostrophes here? Is it allowed or is it just a mistake? Do's and don'ts. Why this apostrophe here? Why this here? This I understand because it's a contraction of do not. So I should put it like this. Don't. But why this one? Why this one? And why this one? So these apostrophes, they do not show any sense of belonging. They do not show any sense of belonging as such. Okay. They are just used to differentiate that, okay, the word is don't and S is separate. The word is do and S is separate. Right. The basically key idea here, the key term here is RC and this S is separate. This is just to separate. So for instance, if you've heard this idiom, uh, dot your I's and cross your T's. You should dot your I's and cross your T's. He always dots his I's and crosses his T's. That means he's very meticulous. He's very thorough in whatever he does. He always remembers to dots his I's and cross his T's. So again, I put an apostrophe S here just to show that I is the letter that is my focus, and this S is just to make a plural out of it. Because if I don't do it, somebody might read it as is, which would be wrong. So that's why they are added for added clarity. Hope this makes sense to you. You can even do this when you talk about grades. Okay, so 5 students have got A's. Okay, we have 5 A's in our class. We have 3 B's from our class, right? So A's, B's, then 2's, 3's. If you're talking about multiple 2's, let's say. So multiple students have secured 2 marks, let's say, out of 5 in your class. So then 2's, we have 3 2's in our class. We have 5 2's in our class. We have multiple 2's in our class, right? So 2's, 3's, A's, B's, I's, D's, and that's why apostrophe is here. So here's a lesson in grammar right in the beginning, and this is your idiom of the day. Dot your I's and cross your T's. I hope this helps. Yes, Nikhil, it will be helpful in CET MBA. Okay. Um, all right, Priya, I hope they should be enough, okay, because again, we've planned our grammar sessions topic wise, question wise, previous year wise, right? So we've had multiple grammar sessions so far also, okay, and the idea has been to cover all the concepts there. So I hope so, okay. All right, all right. MBA CET mock test, Rutuja, we are having an all India mock test, okay, on 5th of August. It will be live throughout the day till midnight. So that's going to be free for everybody, I think. So yes, you can take that, okay. Uh, all right, all right. Punctilious, yes, punctilious is the word, Roshni, punctilious. You are absolutely correct. When someone dots their I's and crosses their T's, that person is punctilious, concerned, being meticulous, being concerned about even the minor things, right? Being thorough. Absolutely correct. So, beginning with our RCs, so I thought that instead of, let's say, framing it as you should do this, you shouldn't do that, I should talk to you about how to do things, right? So, I keep talking about prioritizing RCs. I think that's one thing that I keep repeating so many times, okay, that by now all of you know this. But the question then comes is how to do that? What is the best, fastest way of doing that, right? I think the best and the fastest way of doing that is you just read the first couple of lines. Okay, so first 2 lines. When you read the first 2 lines, okay, or another option is the opening sentences of some paragraphs. The opening sentences of, let's say, 2 to 3 paragraphs. When you do that, you get an idea as to what is the genre of this RC passage. What is the level of language of this RC passage? Is it difficult? Is it easy? And that's all that you need. If you like the genre, if you find the language to be easy to moderate, then yes, you should go ahead with that RC passage. Do not worry about what questions have been asked later on, because you can't anyway get the idea of the difficulty level of the question till the time you have read the RC passage and you go to attempt the questions. So don't worry about the questions in prioritizing. Focus on the genre and focus on the level of the language, whether it is easy or difficult. And let's say the first couple of lines of the opening paragraph, they can help you, or the opening sentences of 2 to 3 paragraphs. I sometimes prefer this. This gives me a broader idea as compared to this, right? So that's your first do of RC that you have to remember. Not necessarily, Sanu, we can't use mathematical for punctilious. Mathematical simply means a person is very calculative in nature, right? Punctilious, on the other hand, is about being meticulous. This person may not be very calculative, may not be very analytical, but is thoroughgoing. Okay? All right, all right. Now, coming to is it yes, so skimming, coming to skimming, yes, yes, yes. It is available on the BYJU'S exam prep app, Ankita. You'll have to download the app and it will be available on the app. Okay. All right. Now, read the questions first. Okay, should we do that or should we read the RC passage first? So what is the prescription here? Again, I didn't frame it in the form of a do. I have put a question mark here. So I'm asking you, what is it that works for you? If you read the question stems first of all, you should never read the options before reading the RC passage. I hope all of you know this. Secondly, if I read the question stems first, does it help me? The answer is It depends. On what? If there are more of direct questions that are based on specific areas of the specific paragraphs of the passage, then yes, reading the question stems first definitely helps. So in an exam like MA at CET, I would read the questions first because there tend to be more of direct questions. Okay, so once I've read that I have to pay attention to this particular thing, whenever it comes in a particular paragraph, I will be more attentive towards it. So it depends whether there are more of direct questions and questions based on specific paragraphs. In the CAT exam, I would not do that. If let's say I talk about CAT, I would not read the question stems first. I don't do it. Okay. Because there are more of inference questions. There are more of such questions that are based on the entire passage. Right. So reading them would not be of much help if you haven't read the passage. So varies from exam to exam. For MHCET, this would be my prescription. For CAT, this would be my prescription. Okay. A related point is that read your questions very, very carefully. What I have observed, even when we have attempted some RC passages in these sessions also, that students don't pay attention to the word except, to the word not, right? They skip such words. So that can be actually very counterproductive for you if you don't notice except, if you don't notice not. So read your questions very, very carefully. See what the question is asking from you. We have an RC passage today, a very short RC passage for you, and there I'll make you notice such things, right? Okay. Now, should we attempt all the questions in the exams or those that we are completely sure about? So, Disha, if your exam does not carry negative marking, then you should at least mark all the questions, mark all the answers. That's what I mean. Right? These could be calculated guesses also because there's no negative marking, you should. However, for an exam like CAT, let's say, where there is negative marking, there you should, in the first round, focus on the easy questions. Those will be the ones about which you are absolutely sure. And for the difficult ones, you can, let's say, if you attempt them, you mark them for review, right? You mark them for review, the difficult ones. So let's say if there is a difficult RC passage, if I talk about the last year, out of 4 questions there, 2 were still doable, 2 were still easy. So these you will definitely mark. The other 2, depending on whether you are able to narrow down to 2 options or not, you will either mark for review or you'll mark something and mark for review, or you'll not mark it, right? If you're able to narrow down to 2 options, then one out of these 2 you can mark, and then you can mark it for review. Then later on, revisit them and make a final choice whether you're going to attempt it or not. If let's say with a fresh perspective, you're able to see, no, oh, this option is the answer, this option seems more appropriate, definitely mark it. Otherwise, leave it. Okay, because when there is negative marking, we should not make wild guesses. That does never works. Okay, now coming to my next suggestion here. So first is we've discussed how to prioritize RCs. Then we've also discussed that we should read the question stems first if there are more of direct questions and questions from specific paragraphs. All right. Now, somebody was asking, should I read the entire passage or should I skim through the passage? So again, let's talk about different exams. If I talk about MA and CET. Now, let's say you get 2 RC passages. Okay, there'll be 2 lengthy RC passages then, because if I'm expecting about 14 questions, 12 questions, then 6 questions each, right? So here, my suggestion to you is that, okay, read the question stems first, and if you are short of time, then only skim. Otherwise, if you look at your memory-based papers of recent years, they haven't been very lengthy RC passages, 550 words, 600 words at the most, not very lengthy RC passages. So only if you're short of time, then skim. Otherwise, read the entire RC passage. That's the first suggestion. Now, let's say you are short of time and you have no choice but to, let's say, skim and scan. So some students think that they will just look at the question stem and they will directly start hunting for the answer without having read the RC passage at all. This actually is a more time consuming thing. It doesn't work because if you do not have any idea what the RC passage is about, when you scan it, you're very clueless. So even if you choose just to attempt select direct questions and you choose to skim and scan, you shouldn't straight away start hunting the answers. Okay, so read the, let's say you read the question stems, then at least pay attention to the opening paragraph because it will tell you, okay, what this RC is about. Then read the opening sentences of every paragraph. These two alone should do the job. You might not even need to read the closing paragraph at times. If you have time, then read it while skimming. If you don't, then don't. Right? So when you go for a skim scan approach, because you are short of time, don't just read the question stem and straight away start hunting. At least read the opening paragraph and the opening lines of various paragraphs. It will hardly take you even 30-40 seconds because you're reading very selected material here, but that will give you an idea of that in which paragraph the answer could be located for a particular question, and that speeds up the process, right? So I hope this answers your question. In various entrance exams like CAT, skimming is not even required because it's just 500 words, 550 words. In that also similar scenario, right? If I talk about MHCET, then again the pattern, the trend has been towards shortening of the length of the RC passages. So you don't need to really skim unless you're absolutely short of time. Okay. Hope this helps. Hope this helps. All right. How much time should we spend on a particular passage? See, again, differs from exam to exam depending on how much time overall you have. If I talk about MHCT, then if you save your time in your vocabulary, in your grammar, because these are relatively time saving areas, see, ultimately you have 40 minutes approximately you 40 minutes to attempt your entire English section, which will be about 50 questions on an average, right? So for these 50 questions, if I have 40 minutes, then of course I have less than a minute per question. So why don't you do this, that you save some time here in vocabulary and grammar, which actually happens, and then you are able to devote at least 1 minute per question in an RC passage. So if let's say there are 15 RC questions, you are able to devote 15 minutes there. Right, some students are able to devote even more time because they save a lot of time here, right? So you can do that in MHC. And if it comes to CAT, see, you have about 30 minutes for your RC passages. Okay, 30 minutes for RC passages. And here you have to attempt 4 RC passages. So now you know you can spend about what, very less time actually, 7.5 to 8 minutes per RC passage. That is what you have. Okay, so that's for CAT. All right. These RC passages carry 4 questions. So for 4 questions, ultimately, I'm giving you 7.5 minutes. I think it's not a short period of time also, provided you've practiced enough. Right? Yes, I am going to discuss a theme question, Disha. So you need not worry. We have a central idea question, a central message question in our RC passage. Okay, you don't have to worry. Okay, and this is the biggest problem I think that all of you face, how to eliminate. So elimination, because you say, okay, fine, I have narrowed down to 2 choices, I have narrowed down to 2 options. The difficulty begins here. What to do, how to find out that out of these 2 options, what is the answer? So why don't I show you how to eliminate through an RC passage? I think that will benefit you more, right? So we have an RC passage right now. Okay, I am just looking at the chat box for some of your queries, right? Because some of these will be answered through this RC passage also. So you need not worry. So Varun, for your VARC, I hope now it is clear that you have to devote 40 minutes approximately, not more than that, right? In MHCT. In any exam where you have to manage your own time, you should have these clear demarcations that this is the time that I'm going to devote to a particular section. Okay, we don't have to do this that, okay, let me focus completely on this section at the expense of others. That does not work. So try to maximize your score in, let's say, these 40 minutes that you have for your VARC, right? Okay, and of course, ordering of questions helps big time. Please attempt vocabulary and grammar first. Okay, and then between logic and RCs, you can make a call. If there are singlets, that means single questions, then I would attempt parajumbles first or critical reasoning first and then go to RC passages, because that's a complete set that ties you up for a certain period of time. Right? Hope this helps. All right, all right. Then coming to Vishnu, I have a class in my enrolled with my enrolled students at 9 today. So if you are a part of that batch, yes, I have a class with you, right? Pradeep, you are right that sometimes the A apostrophe S, the apostrophe is skipped at times. It's not a necessary thing. It is added for added clarity so that people don't get confused. Okay. No, Varun, MHCT and CAT level, VARC level, they differ. So you can't say that they're going to be of a similar level. No. Okay, all right. So seeing some of your earlier queries. Okay, all right. Okay, because in VRC. So let's learn how to eliminate. I think that will solve a number of the problems that I see in the chat box right now. Okay, let's see. Let's see how we can improve our RC score. That is also something that I'm going to focus on. Okay, so we have a 519 words to be precise, a 519 word RC passage today, right? And it's of a very simple language, right? Except a few expressions here and there, which again you will understand through the context. So nothing that you cannot understand through the surrounding words in this passage. Let's see the question stems first before attempting it, so that we know how to apply this strategy, reading the question stems first in the exam. The first question is on the central idea, right? Then the author calls the mall an ecosystem unto itself, means into itself. That's it. Because, so why is the author saying that the mall is an ecosystem? So now remember the words mall and ecosystem. That's it. That's all that you have to do. You don't have to read the options. In paragraph 1, the phrase, okay, so in para 1, I have to pay particular attention to para 1. The phrase real estate developers once stumbled over themselves, to quote, suggests that they. So I have to actually infer its meaning perhaps. Right? Para 1 has to be paid attention to anyway. It's the opening paragraph. Why does the author say that the mall has been America's public square? So again, memorize these words. America's public square. You need not remember anything else. America's public square. Ecosystem para 1. All right. The author describes perfume clouds in the department stores in order to. So why have these been mentioned? Perfume clouds. Just remember perfume clouds and why they have been mentioned. That's what I have to find out. Right. So these are the 5 questions that I have after this RC passage. Now I'll pay particular attention to the words ecosystem, para 1, okay, paragraph 1, perfume clouds, right? And why is it America's public square? So these are the things that I have memorized. And of course, I have to find the central idea later on. Okay, so this is how we look at the question stems. Hope this is clear to you. Right, right. All right, so RC passage, let's begin. Read it. Once you're done till here, let me know. And pay attention to what we've learned so far. Pay particular attention to the opening paragraph and the opening sentences of each paragraph. Right? Pay attention. All right, start reading. Done. Okay, perfect. One of you is saying that you've read it. Last two lines are not visible, is it? Just a second. I'll read that out for you. I'm so sorry. I'm just switching off the sticker, then it will be visible. Yeah. Yeah. Now it will be visible. Okay. So, so far you've understood. See, the first paragraph gives very important information to us, right? The second paragraph further elaborates on it. It gives the impact on jobs. The third paragraph talks about a function that malls serve. But those are workplaces, not gathering places. The mall is both. Right. So this is how you should read an RC passage. Basically, the story should keep on building in your head as you read. It shouldn't just be an isolated case of reading. Right. Okay. So what happens when it disappears? Yes. Read further. Right. I hope all of you have completed this slide as well. Okay, all right then. So we can move to the questions now. Again, when you read it, I hope you focused on what the author was trying to do in this paragraph, right? Okay, I found it very interesting, this paragraph. Then see, here comes that sentence. That mall was an ecosystem unto itself. Okay, so then you, of course, have to read this sentence carefully. And again, this is a very important sentence. So opening sentences of various paragraphs help you big time. Okay. And the idea should be that as you read, you build a story in your head. Okay. Malls closing down, jobs taking a hit, function of malls. Now, some memories perhaps, right? Then the mall was an ecosystem unto itself. So reiterating the function that it served and how people don't see the need to go to any mall at all, right? Macy's is just serving as an example here, right? So I think once you realize this, no, attempting the central idea question becomes very, very easy. That is why I had been focusing on the opening sentences and the building of the story. Now I think in a jiffy you can tell me what the correct answer is. Yes, tell me. Okay, all right. Others? Okay. All right. All right. One or three, right? So between one and so you've narrowed down to one and three, right? You've narrowed down to one and three. The immediate answers that came to me were three, right? Now, 2 and 4 you've eliminated because it is not a compare contrast passage where we give the advantages and then disadvantages and say that advantages are more. No, right? Uh, then yes, it is about malls closing down, but this is not the idea that because people have found alternate ways to shop, they are closing down because people now don't see the need actually to go to a mall at all, right? They used to serve a social interact. They serve a social function, right? They were built for patterns of social interaction that increasingly don't exist. They were built for patterns of social interaction that increasingly don't exist. So that is why they are closing down, right? So now between 1 and 3, this says the closure of malls has affected the economic and social life of middle class America. Okay. Where has this been talked about that the social life of middle class America has been affected? Tell me. Yes, that it has affected the social life of middle class America. Actually, we are saying that while we used to go to malls as kids, a growing number of Americans, however, don't see the need to go to any Macy's at all. So it's not really affecting the social life. It's rather it this closing reflects the changed social life. This closing reflects the changed social patterns. It is not the one that is affecting the social life. So one becomes incorrect that way, right? So basically the closure of malls reflects the change in the social patterns, reflects the change in the patterns of social interaction, as the last sentence says. So malls used to perform a social function that has been lost. This is the better choice out of the two. This is the better choice out of the two. While this one mentions the closure of the malls, which is something that I would want to be there in my ideal central idea. However, this part here becomes incorrect, and that is why we have to eliminate one. So this is what happens in, let's say, your exam questions. If I give you the perfect answer choice, the ideal answer choice, that okay, malls used to perform a social function that has been lost, and that is why they are closing down. If I gave you this option, obviously everyone would mark that option. So that's why they veil it a little. Okay, they kind of hide it a little. So 2 and 4 you could eliminate. Between 1 and 3, you had to read each and every word very, very carefully and see that whether this cause effect relationship that has been mentioned here, does it even hold or not, as per my passage, right? So that is how you eliminate. When it comes to two close choices, you have to read each and every word carefully. You have to understand the relationships mentioned within the sentence and evaluate them in the light of the passage. Ultimately, the passage is the king, right? So Amrit, I agree. So they used to serve that function, right? They used to act like public squares. So they used to perform that social function. So their closure is not affecting that social life. Their closure is a product of the fact that they are no longer acting like public squares. They're no longer performing that function, right? All right, all right. So I hope this is clear to everybody why 3 is the answer and how you have to eliminate, right? Okay, okay. All right. So moving on to the next question, the author calls the mall an ecosystem into itself because, again, if you remember that sentence, very good, then you can start eliminating. But my suggestion would be that you go back once and check that sentence again. That mall was an ecosystem unto itself, a combination of community and commercialism, peddling everything you needed and everything you didn't. And then some examples have been mentioned. So it was an ecosystem unto itself, a combination of community and commercialism. Right. So tell me what the answer should be. This is a very direct question. All right. Others? Okay. Others? Got very few responses so far. All right. Absolutely correct. So I think I've got threes from all of you. Absolutely correct. So you see how going back and reading that sentence makes it so easy to attempt this, right? Otherwise, let's say this part has been mentioned that people from all ages and all walks of life went there. This part is there in the passage, but it is not mentioned in this context. So if you do not go back, sometimes you could be confused to mark this as the answer, right? Then this is also mentioned that a person could eat also, shop also, but again it's not mentioned in this context. So that's why going back and rereading a couple of sentences helps us, right? Then somebody could get confused between 3 and 4, but you have to evaluate, why am I calling it an ecosystem? While this fact has been mentioned later on, after let's say calling it an ecosystem, this is something that's just mentioned after it. It is not a reason for saying this. And that's why 3 is my answer. So easy question. Okay. Now, in paragraph 1, the phrase, so let's again attempt this together. In paragraph 1, the phrase real estate developers once stumbled over themselves to code suggests that they. So what did they do? Right? Let's go back to para 1. So I'm saying, okay, 8,600 stores could close this year, right? Many of them are the brand name anchor outlets, major. Many of them are the brand name major outlets that real estate developers once stumbled over themselves to code, right? Once real estate developers did dash for these outlets, right? So you just have to infer the meaning of this part. That what is it that they must have done? If these are brand name major outlets, then once what must have the real estate developers done for them, right? The real estate developers would want these stores to be opened in their particular building, in their particular mall, right? So what does this phrase suggest? You have to tell me that. I just don't want to give you the answer itself. Yes. Abhijit, calculated guesses while attempting the questions, because if let's say you've narrowed down to two options, okay, and you have let's say a slightly higher hunch towards a particular option, then mark it there and then proceed. However, if you're not able to narrow down to even two options, you don't have any idea about that question, then you can keep such questions for marking at the end, okay? Or you can in fact mark it at that very moment. Decide in your head, I'll mark B for such questions about which I have no idea, or I'll mark C for such questions, and then just keep on marking it, right? Don't leave it for the end, because again if you're short of time, then it creates a problem, right? 4-1. All right, that's what I've got. So see, again you've perhaps narrowed down, right? Okay. Yes, I'll explain this statement. Okay, I'll explain each and every word. Okay, let me just see if this is all I've got. Okay, I've got a 2 also. All right, got a 2 also. Okay. All right, good. So this one was relatively trickier as compared to the other questions, right? So I've chosen a passage that's a combination. So for instance, this was an easy question. Central idea was not a very difficult question. I would call it moderate at best. Okay, easy to moderate at best, right? This was relatively trickier because it actually relied on vocabulary. If you stumble over yourself, that means you make great effort towards something. To quote, when you quote someone, or something also, you basically are trying to curry favor with that person, right? So if you quote someone, you pay a great deal of attention to them because you want something from them, right? That is to quote. You are in a way pursuing. Absolutely correct, Amrit. Right. So they made a great effort. These are real estate developers. They are developing malls. They would want their mall to do well. So they would want all the major brand names to be in their mall. So at one time, these brand name outlets used to have a lot of demand from these real estate developers. But today they are closing down. Right. Today they are closing down. So it's not like they were taking it to the court. Not at all. Okay. They were not taking it to court. uh, in fact, you should have eliminated this because of the word once. That see earlier these were popular, no? So why would you want to take them to court? Okay. Then 4 says they collaborated with one another to get brand name anchor outlets. No, stumbled over themselves does not mean that they collaborated with each other. So not the answer. So this suggests that they no longer, so because I'm saying they once did this, that means they no longer pursue brand name hanger outlets. Today, they no longer pursue them. Once they were very popular, once they used to pursue them. That's why 2 is the answer. And this is trickier because it does rely a bit on vocabulary. However, when I read it, I tried to make it very clear from the context that real estate developers once dash, okay, real estate developers, sorry, what would they want from these major brand outlets? So once they would want these major brand outlets, they would pursue these. So I tried to clarify this contextually for you. Anyway, on the trickier end. Okay, hope this is clear to you. All right. Why does the author say that the mall has been America's public square? Yes. So, America's public square. Again, you would be better off. So whenever you feel that the answer is coming from a particular section, just go back once. Okay, even if you are sure, it pays off to actually go back. So America's public square, this has been mentioned where, yes, here towards the end, but for better or worse, the mall has been America's public square. So in which context has this been mentioned? You can find the context from the paragraph itself. So, but those are workplaces, not gathering places. The mall is both, right? And then we give a number of examples. These are all examples. Home of first jobs, blind dates, family photos, grandmothers, goths, right? People eating, etc., etc. So that should be enough to answer this question, an easy question. Yes. Okay, I've got 4 so far. Absolutely correct. 4 is the answer here. 1 and 2 should have been outrightly eliminated. Between 3 and 4, 3 is narrow as it just talks about families and grew close to each other. We're talking about family photos, but a little bit of a leap there, right? 4 is the best out of the lot. Again, an easy question. So 2 easy questions, 1 easy to moderate, or you can call it moderate, and 1 tricky, right? So overall, this passage was easy to moderate because the language was not difficult. The topic, the genre was not something that was very niche that you couldn't understand, right? Okay. All right, all right. Ankita is asking, are prefixes, suffixes, and roots important for CAT? See, not directly because CAT does not ask you direct vocabulary questions. It does not ask vocabulary questions at all. It will ask you such contextual vocabulary questions at best. For instance, here, stumbled over themselves. So, if you know the meaning of quoting someone, if you know the meaning of stumbling over yourself, that helps, right? So not directly, they're not, but for all your non-CAT exams, they're very, very important. Okay, the meaning of various words. Root word technique is just a technique to learn words. Ultimately, you should know their meanings. That's what we want, right? Acha, sorry, there's one more question left. The author describes perfume clouds in the department stores in order to. Why is the author describing them? Yes, why? Tell me. Why is the author describing them? Tumble over means to fall over. Om. Okay. Yes, yes, we will summarize it, Sanil. Towards the end, we will. Congregated, gathered at one place. Okay. Let's see what the others say. So good. All some of you are addressing the queries in the chat box. Good. So Nandraj, I absolutely agree with Ayush and Mayur. Right. Okay. Okay. One is what I've got. Okay. Now let's have a look. Most of you have said one only. Absolutely. So actually, I was afraid that some of you are going to say two. I'm happy that you didn't. Right? I didn't get any twos. So this is what I mean by reading the questions carefully. When I say in order to, that means I'm asking a question on why it has been mentioned. I'm not asking you the meaning of it. Okay. So if you mark two as the answer, you are just giving me the meaning of it. That okay, by perfume clouds, I mean the smells of the malls. Okay. Typo. Smells of malls. So that's the meaning of it. It's not the purpose of it. The purpose behind mentioning those perfume clouds is to create this imagery in front of you. Whenever people mention some smells or some colors, that actually makes the picture in front of you more vivid. So that is the purpose here, to evoke memories by painting a picture of mall. One is the answer. Absolutely correct. So see, this also was easy for you. So three easy questions in fact. So that's why I said that this was an easy to moderate passage at best. Okay, not difficult at all. Okay, lousy. Yes, when you call someone lousy, what do you mean? When you call something lousy, is it a compliment? No, you're calling it poor, you're calling it bad, right? Scorn is to dislike, okay, to hold contempt for something. Okay, smelled good because of the various stores and food court. No, that's not the idea. We are not commenting on whether it smelled good, whether it smelled bad. And this is not the purpose behind that. See, it's a very nostalgic paragraph. Okay, I told you, this is a very interesting paragraph. So it actually talks to you directly, a very conversational tone here, talks to you directly and tries to give you a major nostalgia, right? Tries to evoke your memories of visiting malls, right? So till here, actually, the cinnamon wafting from the food court, right? Okay. So I hope this is contempt is dislike, dislike, extreme dislike. XAT RCs are available. Okay, XAT previous year papers are available on the Excel website itself. Okay, so you can download them from there. Okay, even over the internet you will find them easily. And when XAT comes nearer, then we will be discussing some XAT previous year RCs as well. So you need not worry about it. Okay. All right. Lousy is poor or bad. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you. I am trying to address as many queries as I can. If you feel that I have missed some of your queries, then you can always repost them. Just don't spam. Okay, take care of that. So I have told you about how to do some things. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you how to eliminate, right? So for instance, this is a classic trap option. Two, it just described, it just gave the meaning, while one gave the purpose. So I have to focus on the purpose and not on the meaning, right? Similarly, when we narrow down to two close options, so here they were not even close, but here how did I decide? Okay, this is narrow. This is just talking about the family, so no, this cannot be the answer. Similarly, here my contextual vocabulary played an important role, right? So I realized that they were not taking it to the court. They would be in demand at that time. So something related to demand has to be the answer. So guessing that, right? Then in this one, calling the mall an ecosystem, this was a direct question. So go back. Don't just think I have just read the passage, I remember everything. So that overconfidence also makes us attempt the easy ones incorrectly. And lastly, this very important question, central idea, something that a lot of us face challenges in. Read each and every word of the options carefully. Pay attention to the cause effect relationships or any relationships that have been mentioned in the option. You have to know that they should be there in the paragraph. You can't make relationships on your own in the option, right? So, this is how we eliminate. Hope this is clear to you. Okay. How to improve vocabulary? See, it's not a one day job, increasing vocabulary, improving vocabulary, right? It is something that you have to make consistent efforts towards. I have suggested you a number of sources for this, right? If let's say you're preparing for MFCT and your exam is in a few days only, in that case, right now I would say stick to the past year papers, right? See what all vocabulary questions have been asked there. Attend the various vocabulary sessions that are happening, and you can watch the ones I have conducted. I think 4 to 5 vocabulary sessions in the MHCET season. So just watch those sessions. I think that itself will add approximately 250 words at least to your vocabulary, right? This again will do the same for you, 500 words. And past year papers, not just MHCET revised, MHCET memory based, but also various non-CAT papers. Even the early CAT papers, they used to ask some very good vocabulary. So I think at this stage, focus on solving questions and focus on your attending and watching various sessions, right? If you are targeting CAT, then you have the time. Please, first attempt word path made easy. Students keep asking me how to improve vocabulary without actually making that effort. Once you finish this, then of course I can suggest you a lot more sources, right? Okay, okay. Veto. Yes, veto means to reject. Correct. Very important tip, something that I've actually mentioned in a short that has just come out in a YT short. Uh, you don't just have to manage your time, let's say, in questions that, okay, don't waste time on a particular question, right? We keep saying that. But also in various areas. Okay, so vocabulary should not take me much time. Grammar, I should save time here. RCs, now that I've saved time here, I can afford to devote some time. Section wise, have these broad timelines for every section of yours, right? uh, it helps tremendously. I think you already have such a strategy in place. Implement this strategy consistently in your mocks, okay, and see how it works for you, right? Also give more time to the section which is your strength. So you know these things, just implement now and evolve a strategy for yourself, right? A very common question that I get asked is how to decide which question is easy, which question is difficult, right? It's a very intuitive thing. When you attempt a question, if you've narrowed down to two options easily, okay, and even between those two options you're able to see the flaw in one of them, then it's an easy question for you. If you're not even able to narrow down to two options, then it's an extremely difficult question for you. If you're able to narrow down to two options, but right now they seem, even after some analysis, they seem 50-50. Even after devoting 30-40 seconds, if they seem 50-50, that means this is a difficult question for you. So that's how you decide. Okay. And with experience, you this decision becomes easier and easier. Right. Initially, I also used to think, ऐसे कैसे अपने आप decide कर ले. This is a very subjective thing. Okay, but you just have to decide for yourself. Those that you're able to attempt easily are easy for you. Those that you're just stuck in too close options, then you know that, okay, now I have to get out of this, right? Now I have to just make a calculated guess and proceed, right? Okay. Do not forget to mark all questions when there's no negative marking, particularly for all the CET students out here. Okay. So, for instance, in TISNET also there is no negative marking. So, you should mark all the questions in such a scenario. NMAT does not give you a choice. You have to mark all the questions there. There's no choice there, right? Lastly, very, very important, please don't lose your calm. Please don't get demoralized. I mean, some of you must be thinking that, okay, my mock score is low. Some of you must be feeling a little demotivated because of that. But keep up at it, okay? Be consistent. Mock scores initially always, fall. That's there for every student out there. So just don't get demoralized at this stage. Just keep on analyzing and reworking your strategy. Just keep on seeing, okay, this is the mistake that I'm making, I don't have to repeat it next time. And through this incremental approach, trust me, by the time you reach the exam, you will definitely see an improvement. Okay, just happens for those who stick to taking mocks, who stick to preparing. All right. Now, any other question? Which source is good to read RC passages? I have suggested some of the sources earlier to you, so suggesting them again. Um, See, Sanil, I am particularly talking about CAT, ZAT, the relatively good in the sense where the level of the language is good. Okay, it's pretty high. So, Eon, Arts and Letters Daily. Just check this website out, and you will see such diverse genres, such good language. Okay, this is one. Then it becomes a little genre specific. So, for instance, for business news, for economy news, I would go for The Economist. I would go for Forbes, right? If I have to read something more oriented towards literature and philosophy, I would go for Brain Pickings. Its name has changed, but even if you type Brain Pickings, you get it. It's the name of this blog has changed, right? Then for science and history, and particularly a combination of the two, Scientific American is great. Smithsonian Mag is also great. Okay, so mentioning these two together. So I think I've covered quite a few genres here, right? So this one for humanities, social sciences, for philosophy, okay, for labor, work, etc. This one for diverse genres. This has various types of articles. This one for business and economy. This one for philosophy and literature. This for science and tech and history. Right. So I think 5 sources are enough, right? To begin with. All right. Yes, Rohit, it does help. It does help. A mixed bag of questions for MNCT. All right. Okay, noted. I'll see what all sessions have been scheduled and how we can create a session for mixed questions. Right. Politics. Yes, for politics, see your newspapers. They'll help you a lot actually. The Guardian, the NYT, they'll give you enough ammunition for your politics RC passages, right? Apart from that, you'll have to read books. If you want to go deep into political philosophy, then you'll have to read some books, right? Okay. So I hope all of this helps. And yes, it has become Margin Alien. Absolutely, absolutely. Margin Alien. It has changed its name to Margin Alien. Yes. Don't feel scared. See, a little bit of fear, a little bit of stress is something that you need, right, to perform well. The term for this is eustress. EU means good, good stress. So a little bit of it you need, but don't uh, focus a majority of your energy on getting stressed. See, getting stressed and working on, let's say, improving at your various sections takes the same amount of energy. So don't devote your energy to getting stressed, rather devote that time and energy to working, to improving yourself, right? So that would be my suggestion. Okay, and we will keep meeting. I'll meet you again tomorrow at 12, right, with another session. So keep attending, keep preparing, keep asking your queries. Okay, this was it from my side for RC do's and don'ts. I hope this helps you, and I hope you do attempt, you maximize your score even in your RC passages, okay, in the given time constraint. You already know that the last lap is going on. I will see you on 8th of August in this last lap. Okay, I'll talk to you about parajumbles demystified. Okay, so we'll demystify some parajumbles, particularly for MNCT. And yes, this is our comprehensive course. You are aware about it, right? We offer you a lot in this, a complete package. You can contact our counselors for this. And yes, for staying connected, this Telegram channel is already there. We have increased our reach tremendously on our social media platforms. We offer you a lot of GK stuff if you follow us there. So I think that should be a motivation enough, right? And yes, thank you so much for attending. I'll see you next time. And yes, welcome all of you. What information do you need, Pooja? The last lap is devoted to MF CET. So all your queries, all the information that you need for CET, you can just come at 9 p.m. today and take all of that information. All right? Okay then. Bye. See you. Same to you, Om. Bye.